I'm really sorry to insult you, but your iPhone is starting to look a little bit small, at least in comparison to these. This is the iPhone 6 with a 4.7-inch display, and this is the iPhone 6 Plus with a 5.5-inch display. Yes, these have got bigger screens, but there's lots more in them too, including new cameras and NFC chips to help you kill your wallet. Both the 6 and the 6 Plus, but right here in front of me, I have a fully functional iPhone 6 clone that even says iPhone 6 right smack on the box. Just gotta give it a little shake and bake because this box is fighting me on getting it open, but I really found this interesting because if anybody has seen my good buddy Michael's, the Detroit Borgs unboxing, his actually came in an iPhone 5 box, so I was pretty surprised when I saw iPhone 6 stamped on the side. So taking a look at the back, you can see it's very consistent in terms of what we've seen so far compared against the dummy mock-ups that leaked earlier this year, the big difference here being obviously it turns on and it functions. So because of those similarities and a few production parts that have leaked recently, I think it's fairly safe to say that this is essentially what the iPhone 6 will look like, give or take. I also just received a handful of iPhone 6 cases from Spigen, which may or may not add credibility to the whole leak and mock-up design, but regardless, if you guys are interested in checking those out, let me know by hitting that like button. Now, spoiler alert, this may look like an iPhone 6, but as far as performance goes, it is not snappy at all. It's sadly actually a massively underpowered iOS-skinned Android device, essentially. If you compare it to the iPhone 5S, for example, you can see in terms of performance on Geekbench, it gets absolutely destroyed. But what's interesting, though, if you look at the specs on paper, they're actually pretty close. They're both dual-core, they're clocked around 1 GHz, but I think this is a testament to not only Apple's performance hardware-wise, but software as well. So continuing on with the unboxing, because there actually was content and accessories which I found amusing, the first thing up is a quick start guide, which says hello right smack there on the front, just like Apple products, but if you dig a little bit deeper and look inside, the most hilarious thing that stood out to me is those are iOS 6 screenshots, so yeah. Next up, and I'm willing to bet these aren't authentic, probably less earpods and more white color stereo bass headphone mic volume control remote earphone earpods headset for iPhone, but nevertheless, at least alongside your iPhone 6 clone, you get iPhone 6 earpod clones. Following that, we have the USB wall charger hanging out there wrapped up all nicely and such. This really isn't anything too spectacular, but at the very least, you can charge your iPhone 6 clone. Next up after that is the USB wall charger's PIC, the faux lightning cable, and alongside that is the SIM ejection tool. Now obviously I'm not going to bank on the lightning cable being authentic either, but at the very least it was still pretty cool that they included the entire package like you would get with an iPhone. So now that we've blasted through the unboxing portion, we can dive in and dig a little bit deeper into the clone. I think obviously the biggest noticeable difference aside from the screen size increase is the complete aesthetic change from the iPhone 5S. No longer on the backside will we see those glass portions on the top and the bottom like the iPhone 5S. That will be replaced by what I would assume to be aluminum by the final production model. That is kind of sectioned off by the dual line design on the top and the bottom where presumably the antennas would go, but I think that kind of makes the iPhone 6 design look eerily similar to the HTC One M8, and if you agree or disagree, let me know with a comment down below. One thing I do want to point out that I do not like, and it's been consistent across the dummy mock-ups, is the fact that the camera on the back side of the iPhone 6 clone pops up. So to me, that would make it very vulnerable to scratches, something similar to the iPod Touch. I know it's probably going to be sapphire coated, but at the very least, why would you want to increase chances of damaging one of the most important pieces on your phone? You can also see different aside from the iPhone 5S, the Apple logo on the iPhone 6 clone is actually indented and recessed in there, much like we saw on the iPad mini with Retina display and iPad Air. Now another big difference between these two is the actual power and sleep wake button. On the iPhone 5S, it's located on the top right-hand side, whereas
those of you who have skinny jeans and not very deep pockets, well, that one's certainly going to be sticking out a bit more. And if we superimpose them, once again, you're looking at just about the same thing. The Galaxy is just barely any wider, really nothing much to say there. And in terms of thickness, they're both really skinny phones. The difference is in the straight edge plastic here on the Samsung, and the Galaxy Note 4 will be a metal surround, still straight edge, good for grip right there, versus the curviness. Now the curviness feels nice in your hand on the iPhone. Some people may find the straight edge more grippy on the Galaxy Note. And now we have a size comparison with the 6. This is the LG G3 and the iPhone 6 Plus. So the LG G3 is somewhere in between. It has a 5.5-inch display and currently one of the Android flagships. And last but not least, here's our little iPhone 5S. Looks absolutely absurdly small next to, well, the 6 Plus. And then if we put it down at the other end, let's go down here now, and you can see, but not too absurdly different when you compare it to the 6. So you get the idea now, hopefully, about size comparisons and which one might be good for you. Both phones obviously support 4G LTE, and pretty much like with the iPhone 5S, there's really very few models that are being sold in the US, and they're more interchangeable than you might realize. I know a lot of people have been buying the T-Mobile one. That's a confusing story. The way it worked with the 5S, and it seems to be the same way with the 6 and 6 Plus, is if you buy it direct from an app, the Apple Store, either online or the Apple physical store, pay full retail, and when you activate it by plugging it into iTunes or setting it up on the phone, then it will be unlocked. If you buy it from a T-Mobile store, if you buy it on one of the T-Mobile monthly payment plans, it will be locked. And the Verizon one, well, it is always unlocked because that was the price Verizon had to pay for getting a lot of nice, juicy 700 megahertz LTE spectrum. The government said, haha, well, in return, you have to sell your phones unlocked. I'm sure Verizon's not thrilled that people know that, but That could also be an option for those of you who want an unlocked phone. There are 16 LTE bands supported in the models available in the US. By the way, Sprint still uses a different model, so that's a whole nother game right there. Anyway, you're going to find that this is going to be a great world traveler, and it's insane how many LTE bands that are on these phones. Good data speeds, good reception, so far very stable, and look to our detailed reviews to learn more about that. Both have dual band Wi-Fi, 802.11 AC, yay, finally. Of course, that Bluetooth 4.0. We have NFC, and that is for Apple Pay, not for anything else, just for Apple Pay, coming out next month. 1.4 gigahertz dual core Apple A8 CPU, 64-bit, a little bit faster than the A7, no surprise there. And it has the M8 Motion coprocessor on board. Display resolution, as always, Apple's a little bit wonky with that, so the iPhone 6 has a 34 by 750 resolution display. That's 326 ppi pixel density. That's the same as the iPhone 5S. The 6 Plus has a 1920 by 1080 resolution for 401 ppi. Either way, the displays on these are just really, really crazy beautiful. Looks painted on. They get the display closer to the top level of glass. Every single iteration of evolution of these displays, and it's just absolutely lovely. Even the smaller model here, I know it's just not like full HD or going even 2K resolution like my LG G3, but it's a gorgeous looking display. Love it. And the same thing goes for the 6 Plus as well. Just really stunning, very bright, 500 nits of brightness on both of these. iOS 8 has a couple of neat new features on it. The thing that I like is improved notifications, where you have actionable items right here. Here's our notification, so if you want to reply in line to a message, you can. And then we have our basic notifications right here. You got stock information, your weather, all that sort of thing too. Also, a new double tap feature here. People that you contact the most often are up top, so you can call them, text them, you got it, and then this is all the applications that are running. Last but not least, here is the updated keyboard with little emojis right there, and voice command and so on. We get a period, we still don't get a comma on the main keyboard without switching to symbol. And in landscape mode, we have a hyper busy keyboard suddenly, don't we? As always, Apple's keyboard works really well. The touch sensitivity seems tuned just right for not making too many mistakes. We'll give it that. This might actually be a little too much stuff. You got your arrow keys over here. We